I'm going to say something now that might seem counter to what you would think a guy running a channel about literature on YouTube would think. I don't know how many videos I've posted on this channel. It has to be close to 2,000 by now. And you would think that I would be sort of the opinion that humans are the greatest. A lot of times that's what literary people think, right? We're the best. We're the only ones in the kingdom with literature. We're the smartest. Oftentimes, literary guys, literary girls seem to think that they are the smartest ones in the room as well. We are sort of building hierarchies like that in our mind, but I am questioning that some parts of me sometimes think that world domination, as such, we have, has convinced us that we are the height of evolution. But is it possible that we are, in some ways, the dumbest of creatures that just happened to have won? I don't think you can look at the landscape of the planet that we inhabit and think under any conditions that we didn't win. There are much more powerful animals than us, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, that in a hand-to-hand fistfight would demolish all of us. But we, with language, technology, language kind of a technology, have really, really put the screws down on everything else. I think this poem will call into question some of those assumptions. Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for a poetry discussion, which will appear in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, now over 700 videos strong, and number two being the poetry discussion playlist, the Emily Dickinson playlist. A playlist of videos dedicated to the greatest poet of all time. The poem in question today is You'll Know It As You Know 'Tis Noon. And it reads as such. You'll know it as you know 'tis noon, by glory, as you do the sun, by glory, as you will in heaven know God the Father and the Son. By intuition, mightiest things assert themselves, and not by terms. I'm midnight. Need the midnight say, I'm sunrise. Need the majesty? Omnipotence had not a tongue. His lisp is lightning, and his that is a typo. I don't know where it's from. And the sun, his conversation with the sea. How shall you know? Consult your eye. Part of what we are talking about here is intuition. Another word for this might be instinct. And I think that is a reasonable substitution there. As far as we know or can tell, there are a few other animals with actual written, or not very few with written forms of communication, but verbal forms of communication. For example, groundhogs or prairie dogs and meerkats have verbal calls. They have communications verbally. They shout things. And interestingly, there was a report a few years ago, I think, that came across my sort of internet being, that what they think is really going on with, I believe it's meerkats, is that their calls when a predator approaches are basically curse words. So basically what happens is one of these meerkats pops up, it sees a lion and it goes, shit, shit. And all the other meerkats go, shit, shit. And they all react correspondingly. So it's kind of like just cursing. Everybody's cursing, right? And everyone else gets the point. But when someone curses, instinctually, intuitively, you understand. There's a lot of studies into curse words, also known as four-letter words, also known as single syllabic words. How many curse words do you know that are multisyllabic? Curse words, not phrases, words. So there is something guttural in those words that speaks to us. Let me ask you this. If you're here, odds are that you are, I've seen my analytics, somewhere between 20 and 45. You are probably fairly well read if you were this deep down on a video about an Emily Dickinson poem. When, however, was the last time that you built a house like birds do without an instruction manual? When was the last time that you stopped a river like beavers do without a helpful YouTube video? When was the last time you just wandered out into the woods to forage food and knew what it was that you could eat? There's no nutrition labels on the backs of those berries. Are those good berries or bad berries? Well, deer figure that out all the time, and they don't have to have a YouTube video or a manual or a nutrition fact to tell them what they can eat. And actually, when was the last time that you did anything instinctually? That you just closed off your mind and said, I got this. Part of it is that we live in a world of technology. There is no instinct for the internet. There is no natural conception of how to fix a radiator. There is no inborn knowledge of HVAC. So you have to learn those things because those are things that have been created by people. But guys, that's not all we do. That's not all we do by the words of someone else. That's not all we do with verbal communication. Basically, everything that we do in our day-to-day lives is overridden by some form of teaching, not something that happens inside of us, something that we just instinctually know. Has instinct gotten away from us completely? I think even on the most instinctual of planes. So, for example, the dating world. You like a certain thing about a certain person. But is this something that you gutturally know? Or is this something that you have come to learn? Things that you're attracted to. Are you attracted to things that happen in your body when you are around someone? Have you ever been with someone that just made you feel as if you were drunk? You can't explain it when you're not with them, but when you are, something changes inside of you. You act irrationally compared to what it is that you normally do, how it is that you normally speak or act or feel. I think there is a good deal of instinct to that, but that's not on your dating profile. You can't read that on a screen. Your friend can't text message you after a double date, I like him. Go on a second date. I like her. She seems good for you. None of those things are at play when someone makes you feel different. There are people, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. You were with someone romantically, and your body odor changes. That's nature. That is your body responding, reacting to something that you didn't write down and neither did they. We don't do anything that way. Think back to your earliest days in physical activity, right? Recess, things like that. Playing with your friends when you were a child. There were things playing kickball that you would do instinctively. By the time you got to middle school, if you were still playing sports, there was coaching involved. How much of the natural athlete gets coached out of humans? And these are very basic things, but who's to say that there are not others that we are simply foregoing? There are things alive in us that we can no longer harness. There's no manual for deers how to raise their babies. They've come a long way. Sharks and crocodiles, if I'm not mistaken, go back to the age of the dinosaurs. There's no how to raise shark babies for idiots books. There's no like and subscribe in the world of crocodiles. They can't teach each other things. But they go by instinct and they have survived. I defy you to name the area in your life where you go by instinct. I can't really think of any. On a daily basis, I can't really think of any. I mean, you get hungry and you eat, but are you eating the right things? Very few of us are. Even something so simple as diet, it seems that we can't do right. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There's poetry every Monday, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.